If you love me, please don't judge me. Got my hands tied, the power's above me. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just a puppet here. If you wanna place blame, then look to the puppeteer. Family, fortune, envy, jealousy, privilege, passed on, legacy, secret, sabotage, borderline, felony, suicide, subtract, selfish, pedigree, yeah.
So yeah, Sonoma happened this weekend, as this is one of those times outside of 2 series this weekend where we are thinking outside the oval. No joke, that was actually Sonoma's marketing catchphrase at one point, was think outside the oval. A lot of this fan base needs to start thinking outside the oval. Especially considering this is the last road course race of the season. Kind of a shame too, that all 4 road course races happened in the first half of the season. So for all the circle jerkers in the fan base that think road courses are the devil because of F1, don't worry. You get your ovals for the next 18 of 19 weeks. You'll get your circle jerking for the next couple months till November. You get your wish. I mean, then again, with this being the last road course race of the season, this is what happens when you don't put a road course race in the chase and just bring back the same issues you had with the chase for about the entire 10 years that it existed up till 2018. Outside the minor changes they made to in the past. But yeah, here's hoping NASCAR actually fixes the mistake they made when they got rid of the fucking Roval to cater to the circle jerkers. But in terms of this weekend, well, SVG belt the ass was so nice, he did it twice this weekend in 2 different races. So, let's go ahead and let's jump into this weekend's recap. So we start this off with the ARCA West race at Sonoma, with ARCA West racing here, and shockingly enough, there were no Cup drivers, or even O'Reilly Series drivers in this race, which is usually the one-time Cup and O'Reilly drivers take part in this race. From what I know, there wasn't no ban or anything, and I think Cup drivers and O'Reilly drivers just lost focus. I guess they just didn't want that extra track time. You know, there's a reason why SVG dominates these things. He could have used that extra track time to possibly beat SVG. Actually, who the fuck am I kidding? Even if they did have that extra track time, they still wouldn't beat SVG, and he would still bit slap the field. Let's not kid ourselves there. But I mean, this race was pretty mid. There were a bunch of cautions in this race, all the way to the point to where Flow Racing lost the feed of the race with 6 to go coming to a restart. And the fans could not even watch the finish of this race. And then the power went out at the track, but they somehow still finished the race, and Sam Corey gets his first career win in the ARCA West Series. Did the win truly happen, though, if nobody saw it? Especially when the power go out and fuck everything up? Like, that's the most ARCA thing to happen this season. Like, Jesus Christ. I think that's our ARCA moment of the year. The power going out at Sonoma. Which is kind of weird. That's almost never happened at Sonoma before. And this is only ARCA West. We still got 2 more races at Sonoma this weekend. But I mean, congrats to Sam Corey, but kind of a shitty way for that race to end. I mean, that's just a vintage ARCA moment, I guess. I mean, it's a shame that nobody was able to watch the finish to the races. What a shame. Auto Parts. The good news for O'Reilly Series is they don't have these issues of losing the feed with the races on the CW. Maybe this is why a lot of people are against streaming, because of issues like that. I mean, hey, not every streaming network has issues like Flow Racing. Plus, it is kind of weird. Flow Racing almost never has those issues. So, that is kind of weird how that happened. Like, every time I've watched Flow Racing, I haven't seen those issues before, but that was weird what happened with ARCA West. And Amazon Prime never had any of those issues, too, with the Cup Series. But, you know, NASCAR fans will complain about everything because, you know, NASCAR fans gonna be fucking dumbasses at the end of the day. But in terms of this race, well, not a whole lot happened in this race. This race was just SVG belt to ass from start to finish. He led 66 of 79 laps, just completely bitch-slapped the field. Like, to put in perspective, the driver that led the second most laps in this race was Connor Sillich with 5 laps. We even had... the stage winners might make you think differently, especially with Anthony Alfredo getting a stage win. Well, we got another random ass stage winner. Damn. But SVG still reigns supreme despite all of it and bitch slapping the field as belt to ass continues to roll on. Not much else to say, just SVG doing SVG things. I mean, let me just say this, for road course, an O'Reilly series, if you want to have a chance at winning in the O'Reilly series on road courses, you better hope to God you don't see SVG or Connor Sillich on that entry list. Well, I mean, you have a chance at beating one of them, but beating both of them, yeah, good luck with that. Because if Sillich and SVG are on that list, you can kiss victory goodbye. Unless something happens to both of them, like what happened at San Diego when they both got wrecked by Austin Hill terrorism. But, you know, that's pretty rare. That almost never happens. Now we move on to the ARCA race at Elko Speedway. One of the couple races this weekend where we do think inside the oval. And well, the first part of this race was dominated by Landon Huffman, as he dominated the early portions of this race until he suffered a mechanical failure, and then stayed on the track to cause a caution. Now you may think mechanical failures, oh, it's just a shit happens type deal, but ARCA's not the same. Because ARCA felt like that Huffman had a chance to bring his broken shitbox to pit road and he chose to stay out. And cause a caution and manipulate the race. We aren't the goddamn NBA. ARCA's trying to have standards here after that embarrassment that happened at Sonoma Friday. So Huffman, you dare bring out the caution with your shitbox? Take a 5-lap trip to the sin bin. Beep! As, yeah, Huffman got a 5-lap penalty for bringing out the caution for mechanical failure. Jesus, we have 2 ARCA moments this weekend for the price of 1 in 2 different races. Jesus Christ. First a power outage, and now a 5-lap penalty. ARCA truly gonna go ARCA. That is truly so ARCA. What truly also was ARCA was Max Reeves coming through the field from last place and winning the race. Once Max Reeves got the lead from last place, he never looked back at what, like the 130 laps of the race. And then flexing on it like it's impressive. It's like, is it truly impressive with his worst to first when he's literally in a JGR car in ARCA? And a JGR 18 in ARCA is literally the best fucking car in the field. Like, is it truly impressive it's in the best car or not? Like, so far, Max Reeves has not really been that impressive. And honestly, if Max Reeves keeps competing this little egotistic asswipe, he's going to get his fucking ego checked real quick in Truxton or O'Reilly. I say, if you really want Max Reeves to get his ego checked, have him go head to hell with SVG on a road course, and the SVG belt will probably straighten him out real quick. In fact, as we go into our next segment for the Canada Series at Riverside, if Max Reeves ever decides to be a dipshit and run in the Canada Series, I guarantee a lot of that Canada Series field will fucking check his ego real quick. And they won't just do it on the track. A few of the drivers might just get fed up with this shit and just send him into the wall. As for the Canada Series race itself, well, the race got delayed by 45 minutes because they forgot to turn the lights on for the track at Riverside. So they had to wait for the power and the lights to kick in before getting underway. At least it's not a rain delay for once. But yeah, pretty rare to have the lights not on. Like, you gotta make sure that shit's on well in advance. Like, even if there's daylight out, have that shit on like maybe 2-3 hours in advance. Either that or make sure you pay the fucking power bill on time. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, I guess. But yeah, once the race did get going, it was really Donald Teja's race for the first part of it, as he held off Cameron to make sure Cameron doesn't go 3 in a row. But of course, Kevin McQuall would work his way through the field, and once McQuall got the lead, McQuall would proceed to lead the last, 180 laps of this race. Even despite Donald Teja's best efforts, he just could not get back up to, he just could not get past McQuall. As Kevin McQuall, of course, is still proven out. Because there have been rumors going around that people still think that McQuall is a road course merchant. Even though, really, he's already proven the past couple years he is not a road course merchant. He can get it done on the ovals. And if you don't still want to think that, well, a Kevin McQuall belt to ass on an oval at Riverside might convince you now. As he finally wins the race in the Canada Series that's actually legitimate and not off Canada Series bullshit. No, Saskatoon doesn't fucking count last year. That was off a fucking Canada Series ref ball. This is his first legit win since since the season finale at Montmagny in 2024. Saskatoon does not count because that should have been Cam Rand's win, but NASCAR ref ball reigns supreme. But at least for this one was pretty legit though. Even McQuall doing some donuts after for everybody. So yeah, Kevin McQuall actually gets his first legitimate win in a year and a half. Honestly, well deserved by him. He's also proving he don't need to wreck anybody to win the race. I mean, it's pretty hard to not wreck anybody. Pretty easy not to wreck anybody when you're up front the entire time. But yeah, Kevin McQuall trying to shake off the bad luck from early on this season. And maybe try and make a run at this championship. Still got a ways to go. But a win like this could really get his season back on track. Now we move on to the F1 race in Austria, and it was a hot one for this race, as there was a massive heat warning for this race. Drivers were given the FIA took extra precautions to make sure the drivers were well hydrated and cooled for this race. And this race did get off to a fiery start. Well, outside of George Russell starting well up front, I mean, it's a Mercedes car, that's normal. But of course, the hotness really started with both Cadillac cars. Both Cadillac cars reported smoke, and reported smoke, and they both retired from the race within the first 10 laps. It was alright. It was a double disaster for Cadillac real quick. But it was George Russell's race from start to finish. Even though the Ferraris had a chance early on, they thought they made the right strategy call when a virtual safety car came out for Carlos Sainz having a mechanical failure issue on the failure on the track and stalling out on the front stretch. And the FIA didn't penalize Carlos to give him a 5-lap penalty for mechanical failure, bringing out the virtual safety car. See, Arca? Not every mechanical failure is manipulation. You can lay off, damn it. And well, for Ferrari, they thought they had the right idea, but they waited about a lap too late to pit under the virtual safety car, and once they lost the track position, they never really got it back. They had the right idea. They just called it too late. Because as soon as they told Lewis to pit, he was already past pit entry when the virtual safety car came out. It was also a bit of a disaster for Kimi Antonelli as he pitted right before the virtual safety car came out, which is a lot more lost time because under green it's like a 22-second loss, while under the virtual safety car it's like a 10-second loss. Yeah, but we did get a good scrap early on between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen for second. But of course, and there was another virtual safety car for debris later on, but outside that, nothing was stopping George Russell from victory today. As George Russell wanted to prove that he wasn't being anyone's bitch and that there isn't no favoritism at Mercedes for Kimi Antonelli. And George Russell goes on and gets his second win of the season and wins in Austria for the second time in 3 years, getting the win in Austria at the Red Bull Ring. beating Verstappen in Red Bull's home race. And Kimi Antonelli rounded out the podium. And with Russell's win, Russell now moves to second in the championship off Ferrari, just mistiming that virtual safety car pit a lap too late. I mean, Ferrari had the right idea. They were just they gotta be quicker than that, though. But even if they did that, they still weren't beating Russell and Mercedes. Like, Russell's car was dialed in all weekend. George Russell goes on and gets the win, his second win of the year, his first one since the season opener back in Australia. But yeah, Russell proving he still could have a fight in this championship, as this ain't gonna be an easy runaway for Kimi Antonelli. Especially since, next week for Russell's a big one, since next week is Silverstone, Russell's home race, along with Lewis Hamilton's home race. I mean, for a lot of the grid, it's the Silverstone's it's their home race for a lot of drivers and teams. But yeah, as now we begin the year-up summer stretch before the summer break. So yeah, a lot of F1 to keep up with these next couple weeks. So yeah, maybe the championship won't be a complete runaway here. Now we move on to the Cup Series race at Sonoma. And this race, it wasn't a normal Kiwi belt to ass that we've seen in years past, as the first stage of this race was completely dominated by Ty Gibbs, as he dominated the entire first stage. Because SVG had to start this race in 6th place. Because everyone just assumed that SVG was just going to win the pole and it's going to go like that. Sadly, no, that's not how this works with qualifying. Sometimes someone can set a hot lap better than SVG. But as we even had hosts of our fans trying to flex on Larson fans, saying an 8-year-old was qualified Larson's. Like, seriously, flexing over a goddamn qualifying position? You hosts of tarts are fucking pathetic. Because everyone knows, it's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. And hosts of tarts, how did out-qualifying Larson work out for you in the end? I think the results speak for itself. So yeah, you may have won a battle. So yeah, host of tarts, he may have won a battle, but Larson's winning the damn war over you. But up front, though, Ty Gibbs would win stage 1, mainly because he stayed out while SVG pitted for track position to flip the stage. And then once SVG flipped the stage, it's time for the SVG belt to ass to kick in. Although Ty Gibbs sweeping the stages because SVG flipping them will make you think otherwise, no, this was SVG's race. Even though we did have brief SVG Connor Sillage 1-2 in this race for a little bit, until we had a fuckfest in the hills with Josh Berry, Noah Gregson, Austin Cindric, and Bubba Wallace fucking giving each other the good old rubby-tuggy and sideways fuck-taps. Shockingly, that was the only caution in this race for an on-track incident. Outside that, the SVG belt to ass continued on after that, as once SVG got the lead again to start stage 3 after flipping the stage, he never looked back after that. It's really the only time he lost the lead was on green flag pit stops because of everyone on different strategies. But everyone knew SVG was on the superior strategy. Like hell, even Chase Briscoe short pitted and pitted a lap sooner on the undercut and still lost time to SVG. Although Briscoe did make it interesting at the end when he ran down SVG. But despite Briscoe's best efforts, he just could not thwart SVG. So yeah, this wasn't your normal SVG belt ass, as someone did try to rip the belt out of SVG's hand. Only in the end for SVG to show how strong his grip is. I heard that he just took a rugby ball and kicked it right into Sam Briscoe's bald head. You be the judge there. And then once SVG ripped that belt right back out of Briscoe's hands, he put the finishing touches on this race and called game. And free rugby ball into the crowd for everybody. And as of course, this win for SVG now puts him back in the chase into the top 16. Which he honestly needed those points after what happened in San Diego last week. But SVG gets the win. It's his 8th road course win, which now ties him with Tony Stewart for second most in NASCAR Cup Series all time. So yeah, SVG now up to second on the all-time road course career wins list. Only Jeff Gordon has more road course wins than SVG. And if anyone wondering, that's where Jeff Gordon has 9 road course wins. That's the record. SVG's at 8. So SVG is 1 win away from tying Jeff Gordon for the most wins in the road courses in the Cup Series. And since this is the last road course race of the season, SVG will have to wait a little bit to tie that record. You'll have to wait in 2027. But yeah, I mean, I do think that gap between SVG and the field is slowly starting to close down. But even despite that, SVG continues to reign supreme. And the main reason SVG won this week, his car was sponsored by Red Bull. And you know Red Bulls like to assert dominance when trying to impress all the bitches at the track. And that's what SVG did to impress all the bitches. He asserted his dominance in his Red Bull, and it gave him wings straight to victory lane in wine country. So yeah, SVG gets the win, the last road course race of the season. But SVG, he could have a chance to make the chase on points this year, but he's definitely going to have to step it up on the ovals these last 8 races. And also with SVG winning, SVG also advances in the bracket, since he was matched up with Ryan Preece, so SVG's win automatically advances him to the round of 16. Yay, SVG actually made it past the round 1 and something for once. Wish he could have done that in the fucking chase last year instead of Logano. But hey, here's the good news. Even number Logano bullshit isn't going to reign supreme in the in-season tournament. He got knocked out in round 1 by Eric Jones. As really the only driver out of all the in-season tournaments to have issues with Tyler Reddick having power steering issues, which allowed Alex Bowman to advance to round 2. So for the second year in a row, the 1 seed goes down in the first round to the 32 seed. And I think everybody's brackets got busted after Sonoma, because I'm pretty sure nearly everybody had Reddick advancing over Alex Bowman. And for anyone that says that they picked Bowman over Reddick, listen, just because you can lie on the internet doesn't mean you should do it. And the good news about SVG winning is now we don't have to hear the boomers fucking complain about Toyota winning all the time and the lawsuit sum. And the funny thing is, all the boomers complain about Toyota winning the Cup Series. You don't see them fucking complain at all about Chevrolet dominating the fucking O'Reilly Series. Like, if you're going to complain about Toyota's dominance in a Cup Series this season, then keep that same energy with Chevrolet in the O'Reilly Series and Ford in the fucking Truck Series at Lane Riggs. Here's a spoiler alert, NASCAR fans won't fucking do that. For anyone that hoping they will, they won't, because now a lot of NASCAR fans, especially the anti-Toyota darfs, are massive fucking hypocrites. Especially all the ones that fucking complain about the road courses too. Which, the funny thing is, everyone complains about the amount of road courses on this. The road courses only count for 4 out of 36 dates, which is like a ninth of the schedule, which is 11.1%. So I don't really understand the road course hate in the Cup Series. When you got your ovals 89% of the fucking season, like, you get your weekend 32 times out of fucking 34. Well, next year it's probably going to be 31 times out of 36 if we get Mexico or Chicago back, or hell, even go to Montreal next year. We'll have to see how the 2027 schedule rolls out. But even if it's 5 dates, so let me do the count. So even if it's 5 out of 36, that's about 14%. Which, in that case, if it's 5 out of 36, you're still getting your circle jerkers are still getting your weekend 86% of the year. So let me just say this. Let me reiterate what I said before. Road course hate is so fucking forced, it's fucking pathetic. Like, if you don't like road courses that much, here's the solution. Don't fucking watch, which is only like 4 out of 36 races. You still get your weekend 32 times out of 36, you greedy spoiled fucks. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, not only is the road course hate so fucking pathetic, this fan base is easily... Like, there is no doubt NASCAR fans are some of the most entitled fucks in this community. And really just look at how much road course hate there is and tell me otherwise. You can't convince me otherwise. Like I said with the hero villain meter for the tracks. Look at how many road courses are in the villain category and try and convince me road course hate isn't more forced. Like, not only is this fan base so fucking entitled, they're so fucking ungrateful. Like, you still get your weekend 32 times out of 36. Like, we did have a road course in the fucking chase. But, of course, the fans looked at one Coke 600 date and decided that one old Charlotte Oval date wasn't good enough for them anymore. Well, in fact, 2 dates now isn't good enough for them anymore because a lot of them want the All-Star race back at Charlotte. We're just like, why? Oh, no one took the All-Star race in Charlotte seriously. A lot of the teams mainly treated that race as just a test and tune-up session for the Coke 600. Well, except for those times NASCAR wasn't testing different aero packages since we all know that Charlotte, all the All-Star race was in Charlotte, which is a test and tune-up session for any shit NASCAR wanted to roll out in the future. Let me just say this, NASCAR's just better off getting rid of the All-Star race altogether and just making an extra off week for the teams. Either that or just making a 37th points race. Like, I think after this year's All-Star race, we definitely lost the plot of what the All-Star race is supposed to be. But that's all rant for another day. But yeah, we don't have any more road course races again until 2027. Well, unless we go to other series to look for it. But yeah, hopefully they put a road course race in the chase. And honestly, I hope they move Sonoma up earlier in the year. Honestly, Sonoma should be in goddamn May, not Watkins Glen. I say put Sonoma in May. Like, honestly, let me just show side-by-side pictures of Sonoma, usually in June, July, and what Sonoma looks like earlier in the year in May. Look at those photos and tell me which one is more appealing to you. If you say June, July, I'm going to really question your fucking life choices. If you say June, July is more appealing than May, then I know that you're on that fucking tradition juice way too much. Like, anyone that thinks June, July is more appealing than May, you need to take a good long look in the mirror yourself and reassess your life choices real damn quick. But anyway, enough of that talk on. I'll show the bracket for next week. And I'll see you all for next week at Chicagoland. Oh, what? You really thought I was going to miss NASCAR's return to Chicagoland? I wouldn't miss this for the world. See you next week. Well, before that, though, correction. There is a race recap this week for Modifieds at CNOC for Wednesday night. So, there is going to be a race recap midweek. But after CNOC, see you for Chicagoland next week. So, here is how next week's bracket shapes out for the in-season tournament for Chicagoland. I got everybody penciled in. So, Alex Bowman, he advanced over Tyler Reddick. The 1 seed goes down in the first round for the second year in a row. At least it's on a road course this time and not a stupid speedway. Cindric advanced over Keselowski. Hocevar moves on over Shane Smith. We did have an upset with Todd Gilliland advancing over Suarez, which is kind of a shock. Todd Gibbs also advanced over Austin Dillon. We had Chase Briscoe advance over AJ Allmendinger. Honestly, I thought Allmendinger was going to be a lot better in the race, but just they didn't really get that position back once they lost it when flipping the stage. Also, McDowell advanced over Bubba, and Elliott advanced over Gregson. Also, Ryan Blaney didn't shit the bed at Sonoma. He actually had a good race for once and knocks out Barry. And of course, SVG, your winner, he automatically advances by default. Byron also advanced. Larson advanced. Busher advanced. Bell power through on one arm over Chastain. Jones eliminates Logano, preventing even number Logano bullshit from reigning supreme again. And Hamlin gets his revenge for last year and knocks out Ty Dillon. Although both drivers tried to punt that thing away early in this race, with Hamlin spinning out and then Ty Dillon having issues with power steering. But Hamlin moves on, which means for the round of 16, our matchups will be Alex Bowman versus Austin Cindric. We then got Carson Hocevar versus Todd Gilliland. We then got Ty Gibbs versus Chase Briscoe in a JGR Civil War. We then got Michael McDowell versus Chase Elliott. We got Ryan Blaney versus SVG. We got William Byron versus Kyle Larson in an HMS Civil War. Yeah, Space Mel Ferrari 248 wants HMS fans to find peace here. He ain't gonna find it at Chicagoland between Larson and Byron next week. Every man for himself next week. Then the other last two matchups, we got Chris Buescher versus Christopher Bell, the Battle of the Chris's. And then we got, finally, Eric Jones versus Denny Hamlin. Some pretty good matchups, to be honest, in round 2. A lot of high seeds still in this thing. As really, the only two low seeds from 20th on down are McDowell, Gilliland, and Bowman. But yeah, shaping up to be quite a good round of 16 at Chicagoland. So yeah, we'll find out next week who moves on to the round of 8 in Atlanta. But anyway, see you all next week. I'm out.